Hey everybody, welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. Today we have Bonny Meyer, who is the author of this book, Perfectly Paired: The Love Affair Behind an Iconic Wine. So welcome, Bonny.
Thank
So
you.
you're in your beautiful, are you in your winery now or is this just your house?
This is this is my home in the middle of the vineyard in Napa Valley.
Oh, beautiful. All right,
Yeah.
so tell me how it all began with your beloved husband, Justin.
So this book is about wine, but it's also about my love affair. And I met Justin on his 29th birthday. I was a college co-ed. I was invited to a professor's house where his birthday was being celebrated. My friend said, "Bring your guitar. The birthday boy plays music." So I did. Took out my guitar to lead the family in Happy Birthday. And his eyes lit up. And he went back to his bedroom where he was living with this professor, got his homemade banjo, and we ended up playing music for the next 2 or 3 hours that evening. And
Wow.
we became instant friends. But at that time, and for a number of years after that, the unusual thing about our relationship is he was a Christian brother. He was a monk, and he was there at UC Davis studying winemaking and viticulture for the Christian Brothers. He was being groomed to be the president of that winery, which was one of the largest wineries in the United States in the 60s.
Hmm.
And so our friendship was a very platonic friendship, and I had no interest or desire or inkling that we would enter into a romantic relationship. So that's how we met, and I do think that actually having starting there, starting with friendship, and which then became very deep friendship and relationship, was created a solid foundation for
Mm-hmm.
our later marriage.
Well, you're playing music together, which is such a beautiful way of like synchronizing beyond words, where it seems like if that was the first way that you met. Um, and so you started off as friends because do monks usually get married or is this?
No,
I didn't think so.
no, he was a. There are different kinds of monks, but he was a Catholic monk in a Catholic religious order, which means they take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And so the chastity part means no, you don't get married, you don't have sex. That's
Yeah,
it's
wow.
a yeah.
So, when did you cross the threshold from platonic friends playing music together, and it sounds like a very deep friendship, into something more?
Well, actually, I met Brother Justin in November, my first year there at school, and by the spring, uh, after a dinner at the another dinner at the professor's house, he was taking me home. We stopped by the creek to look at the stars and the trees on our way home, and and he kissed me.
Were you shocked?
Yes. He
What was your
he was trying to
reaction?
kiss me. Well, for a moment, I was very shocked. Well, he kissed me and then told me he loved me. He was in love with me, and I was shocked. And I looked into his face, and there was this very quick uh, flashback in my mind where I then started recalling the moments of connection, feeling connected to him, and my joy at seeing him on campus, or
Mm,
thinking about the times we spent together, And I realized in really just that what seemed like a long moment that I was in love with him too. But then we spent the next 4.5 years doing our best not to be in love with each other.
Okay, how'd that work? Wait, what? I don't understand. So at that moment, both of you knew that you were in love, and then you were starting at UC Davis, and he was in grad school, it sounds like, and
Yes,
so you were both had to continue your education, and I guess it's kind of hard to be a Christian brother at this point and still, like, I don't understand when you're studying that, does that mean that you're also following all the rituals? It's not just an academic thing, it's a lifestyle thing.
yes, yes,
Okay. And
yes.
so is it like the movies where you never talked about that moment again? Or what happened after the creek moment?
Well, it was a lot like the movies, but yes, we did talk about it, and there were many times over the next ensuing years that we decided not to see each other again. Um, and we periodically would phone call, we would write letters, we would decide not to see each other, we'd cry, and we wouldn't. There would be no communication for a week or two or three, and then it usually was him. He'd call me, and we'd start up seeing each other. He would find reasons to come to the university to talk to a professor, and we were always welcome at Professor Harold Olmos' home, and we would be there with each other, and yeah, we were. So we couldn't figure out. No, how did that work for you? No, it didn't work out well. We could not figure out how to not be how to not be in love with each other. Um, but there came a time when I had finished my graduate work, and I knew I was going to be heading away from Davis and into real life. And for the first time ever, there was something that really shifted in me, and I said to him, I said, I can't keep doing this. This is the end.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And about a week or two after that, he showed up. Uh, he showed up at the Olmos house, and I happened to be there, making educational tools for my students, and and
Okay.
and with a guy I was dating, by the way,
Oh,
and
wow.
and and he showed up there to talk to them. The Olmos had become like extra parents to Justin, to Brother Justin, and he came there to tell them that he had decided to leave the religious life.
Wow.
And they called me into the house. My boyfriend left. we, they called me into the house and said that Brother Justin wanted to talk with me. And at that moment, he told me he was leaving. He asked me if I would marry him, and I said yes.
Wow. So, I was thinking about, I was reading a book this week about divine love, and it was describing how we, all the different ways that we love and what we learn through love. And I'm curious, um, having that, like, I don't know, passion or connection. I don't know how you describe what you had, but having that and have to wait for so long. I mean, how much, when was it from the time that you
It,
kissed in the creek to,
it was 5 years.
okay. Okay, 5 years. You waited 5 years, but there was something in you that knew and knew during that point. What do you think you learned about love?
How many hours do I have? I, People do one of the reasons, important reasons I decided to write this book. By the way, the book actually, there's a newer version, and it looks a little bit different,
Okay.
and it's called The Love Affair Behind Silver Oak Cellars, which is the winery we created together.
Yeah.
But what one of the reasons I wrote it is to, so many people had said to me that we had an extraordinary relationship. And I am certain that our relationship did not have to be extraordinary. I want to make it ordinary. I want to make it, I would like to describe it, which I believe I succeeded, uh, to describe it in such a way that people can see themselves in it.
Mm-hmm.
And was it divine? Yes, all love relationships
Mm-hmm.
at their most exquisite are divine. And also love relationships, there are monks that go off and live in a cave for 10 years and so that they can reach enlightenment. I believe that relationship is that crucible where we're constantly needing to um, surrender our ego
Mm-hmm.
and see what's really important between us.
Mm. Yeah, the book that I was reading was saying that it was a book on bhakti, which is this idea of complete devotion to love, to expressing your love for the divine. And in the book, they had suggested that, your love comes through many different, love comes through devotion and service, to do work of service, which you have done in your winery. And it comes through conjugal love. It comes through love of your children. And there were like five different ways. I can't remember some of the other ones. Oh, it comes through like ritual and ritualistic acts that you do to show your love. So it's seva, devotion through work, devotion through your children, devotion and love through your love, your partner. And it seems like, and this is the way that you love the divine, is through expressing love in all these forms. And it seems like your life is really just about love. I don't know if this makes any sense to you or how you would describe it.
Total, total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so how like, you've sold your children now run the winery. You're part of the Meyer Family Foundation. And when you look back, at the time when you were at the creek, you probably didn't know like how all this would emerge. But when you look back, like, were there signs like were there like signs and synchronicities that were kind of leading you to like kind of leading you along the path to where you are right now?
Um, our meeting was a synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought for all those 5 years it never really entered my mind that brother Justin and I would end up together until the moment that he told me and asked me to marry him. Uh, I didn't I didn't have in my mind that I was going to ever be in the wine business, but we started Silver Oak the same week we were married.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
so, but there are there are daily synchronicities in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I find that they are very rich and wise. They have those intuitions have a wisdom to them, and when I follow them, I end up in the most the perfect place for me. Not that
Mm-hmm.
it not that it always feels good. Sometimes it's really hard, but it's the perfect place.
Mm. So in your marriage, were there synchronistic flowing kinds of things? I know that you said being at that party and meeting Brother Justin was kind of like that was synchronistic. But were there other ones that you look at your life and go, yep, seems like there was a path all along.
Oh, actually, there's so many that none in particular come come to mind. I never thought I would write a book,
Yeah.
um, but I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Lynn Twist, and she said that she had found a ghost writer to write her book, and I said, well, yeah, then I could do that. Then I met with somebody who I thought would make a great ghostwriter, and he looked across the table at me and he said, "This is a spiritual journey. You have to do it." And
What? That's
but
not what I was signing up for.
but even before that, identifying him as the guy to talk to was a synchronicity. I saw him at an event, and I remembered that I had met him before and how he would be a perfect person to help me.
Yeah.
And so just uh, yeah.
I love it. Okay, we've been talking to Bonnie Meyer about her book, Perfectly Paired, The Love Affair Behind an Iconic Wine. Thank you so much.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.